So we're here at Smart Energy Queensland in Brisbane. I'm joined by my very good buddy and newly appointed General Manager of Auswell Energy and the Edisun Group.
That's right, mate. Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, big things ahead.
Mate, look, for anyone who's been lucky enough to be installed by Auswell Energy or Edisun Group, Auswell is residential,
Yeah, that's
Edisun
right.
is commercial.
That's right, yeah.
What would you say your key points of differentiation from all the other thousands of installers out there?
Well, look, obviously, a lot of us installers all say the same thing. We've got the best installers, we've got the best quality, we look after our customers, but I think our proven track record from our Edisun Group and the commercial standpoint, where we start off as a white label solution, delivering large commercial projects for retailers, through to more recent years doing our full end-to-end ourselves, direct to customer. We stood the test of time there. We've got the engineering background, so our founder's electrical engineer by trade, and we've got that right the way through the business. So I think we'd be one of the very few that have got more engineers internally than we do, salespeople, and that's what we stand by. And Auswell was born off the back of the success of Edisun Group. So Edisun Group in our 10th year, Auswell 9th, and our residential customers have had the benefit of everything that comes with a commercial parent group in terms of installation, price point, and that real overall value for dollars.
Which is absolutely amazing. I mean, one of the things that stood out for me, we get commercial solar inquiries, and especially something that's a bit larger, more technical. I mean, what we've seen in the past is someone comes to us with an inquiry, we obviously assign that lead to maybe 1 to 3 different retailers. But when it comes to the engineering components and to actually understand the system design, I know a lot of the time that's kind of almost passed on to somebody else to do. And that's the sort of thing that you guys actually do in-house.
We do, yeah, and that's probably our key point of difference, because in a lot of cases, that design will be put together by a BDM or a sales rep that's been given some training by someone internally that's got the CEC design ticket. Whereas with ours, it's all done by engineers and accredited CEC designers. So our sales guys, BDMs, call them what you will capture the information required from the customer, bills and that sort of thing, go to site and do the initial site assessment. That all goes into our engineers and CEC designers to actually come up with the system that's suitable for homeowners right the way through to large commercial. So, and then rather than engineers try and explain it to customers, which is just going to have them phase over and put them to sleep, our BDMs put it in customer language that's easy to understand and make sure that it's understood well by the customer. I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and the solution being installed is as per design, rather than system being designed by a subby that's then installed by another subby, and then you want can cause some cracks.
And look, I don't want to put my foot in it here or upset any of my many manufacturing partners. There's some great technology available on the planet. Loads of that's available in the Australian market, which is awesome. Do you guys have any particular favourites?
No, I mean, with how long we've been around and all the manufacturing partners and wholesalers that are here, we've got great buying power with our wholesalers. We've got great relationships with manufacturers. I've got some personal favourites, but again, for the same reason, I wouldn't want to go and shoot anyone in the foot. At the end of the day, it all comes down to what the customer's after, right? So, what their budget is, what they're actually after, the environment that they're in, residential if it's heavily shaded, or commercial if there's a lot of sediment and that sort of thing. So, again, and that's where it comes to our CEC designers and engineers, not just looking at data, but looking at the environment and coming back with a solution and a technology that's going to best suit what that business owner or residential customer requires.
Awesome. And look, for a residential customer, someone who's never installed solar power, looking to go solar for the first time, what would be your top couple tips for them?
First of all, it's a minefield out there, and do your research, not just on, for us, we say go and do website checks and Google review checks by all means, but ABN checks and everything. It's really a case that it's hard to see the weeds between the trees in solar. So I feel for a lot of homeowners, but just really doing their research and just making sure that they know what's under the hood of solar companies. Everyone says the same thing, that they've got the best product, they've got the best install, they've got the fastest install. But yeah, it comes down to that gut instinct at the end of the day, and just making sure you trust the person you're speaking to, but also the process. The question you've been asking me, how do you guys come up with the design? Where's the aftercare service? What evidence have you got of that? Because then you're comparing apples with apples, whereas unfortunately in solar, a lot of the time it's homeowners aren't even aware that they're comparing apples with pears.
No, fair enough. And with the commercial solar customer, so someone who owns a large manufacturing plant, a factory, could be a brewery or winery, something that's using a significant amount of electricity, not just air conditioning, but refrigeration and various other types of energy consumables within their organisation. Yeah. Is it worth going solar power as a commercial customer?
Oh, 100%. It's to the point now these days with the price point of solar and where the rebates and everything are at, that any daytime energy using business it's crazy. It's mad not to have at least solar on the roof, if not batteries and VPP and everything else that can come into it. But yeah, if you're a daytime energy consuming business, we're seeing returns now of 2 to 4 years is quite common.
Okay, that's amazing.
Where, it was only a matter of 2-3 years ago where for a good quality system you'd be lucky to get a 5-year return. So again, it all depends on what distribution network you're in, what rates you're paying for those returns, but you can get a good quality system on a commercial roof now where they have a predominantly daytime energy usage in that 2 to 4 year.
So if you're only in you're leasing the building, like you don't own the premises, obviously look, given the current market conditions, obviously everyone's a bit nervous about signing long leases and committing to anything that's going to, sort of tie them into something to extend the period of time. Yep. So if, let's say, for example, you've only just moved into a new premises, you've got about a 3-year lease. Yep. Of course, there's conditions to be able to extend that over time. Right, is there a solution to go solar in that scenario?
There is. We do help a lot of tenants. Obviously, comes down to your landlord as well. So getting that landlord approval. But we have a lot of tenants that will look at. They might have 3 years left on the lease, but they got option for another 5. So when you look at the payment plan solutions, I actually take that into account and see that as 8 years rather than 3. It's just that's where we can come into play with our proven expertise. Once we can show the landlord the types of jobs that we've delivered and any documentation they need to put them at ease, that we're not going to spoil their roof or damage their property, that's landlord's main concern. And then with tenants, it's just making sure that they're going to get a return within their lease period. At the end of the day, if it's going to be better for them from a cost perspective to just stay grid power and they're not going to get their returns, we'll be upfront with them about it. And that's where they've got to be a little bit careful with a little bit of smoke and mirrors we see, especially in commercial. There can be sales reps we've seen out there where we've walked away from an opportunity or advised that they don't go with solar, and they've gone with somebody else because they've been promised 2-year returns, but really for that customer, realistically it's more like 6-7 year returns.
Yeah.
And really then the tenants put a system on the roof for more for the benefit of the landlord and the next tenant. So it just brings another element of data and thought process into it, but it's all done properly. There's a lot of tenants out there getting a great return, and often the landlords will use this with their landlord for re-signing of their next lease. So the tenant will put the solar, and they might be the ones to make the repayments, and the landlord doesn't want to chip in towards it. But when the new lease comes around, they get friendlier terms on their next lease as a result of having put the asset on the landlord's property.
Fantastic.
They're getting lower cost energy to the property than they would just staying on grid power with the rates increasing year on year.
And obviously you've been at Smart Energy all morning. It's epic, it's action-packed, there's so much going on, which is amazing to see. I mean, what's been your highlights of the morning so far?
It's been just seeing the great faces, your friendly face, and again, coming back to the manufacturers, being able to, these events are great because everyone's in the same room at the same time. So when you're trying to get those meetings with manufacturers or wholesalers, you're able to get a lot of meetings done that might take months, all done in one day. Yeah. And compared to last year, I think there's twice as many people here this year than there were last year.
It's very, very busy.
That was the same with Melbourne. I think Melbourne had their record numbers, and I wouldn't be surprised to hear that this has been record numbers for Brisbane. So yeah,
fantastic.
It's great to see the Sunshine State starting to really make a push nationally.
Good stuff. Well, thanks for joining me today, Cobby.
No worries.
Congratulations on the new role.
Yes, big shoes to fill. Let's go.
Catch up soon.
Thanks, Rosh.